This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up.
Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh yeah, this is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks, exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better. Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
I see the future in our public school classrooms every day. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I also see how critically important parent and community support is to our students' success. Support your public schools. Get involved. Form a business school partnership or become a school volunteer. Great schools and great communities work hand in hand.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Blackshirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? What up? This is Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We do have the spring game review. Obviously, it was the debut of potentially a new look Huskers. Obviously, on offense is going to get the majority of the attention. Obviously, you got two highly recruited and the highest recruited quarterback, maybe the highest recruited player ever in Nebraska history. Had his debut in front of 60,000 plus people yesterday. And then obviously you had Daniel Kalen and you know what? I'm going to say, Harrison, before we get started, you got me in there?
We're on there. Okay. You're on the TV.
All right, got me on the TV. I want to get your opinion before we get into it. We got a whole hour, so we're going to be power packed and, give some opinions and thoughts on some nice young players. But I want to ask you, here's my thought on it and tell me, what you think. I feel like they have three new quarterbacks. And obviously you got two that, they just were in high school, or probably could still be in high school, obviously, and Dylan Raiola and Daniel Kalen. But I think, obviously, when you have a quarterback coach or a new quarterback coach and maybe a new philosophy offensively, you have a new Heinrich Harburg.
That's what I noticed right away. He looked good. He matched Raiola for the most part in terms of touchdowns and scoring early on.
Yeah. I mean, all I'm saying is just you have a new player, and you have a new version. And so your quarterback room, just judging by yesterday, looks a lot better. And then therefore your team is going to look like a better team. I mean, obviously, depth and you just got to, depth has got to be developed. And that's what this coaching staff is known for. And this is what they've, hung their hat on there. You come here, we're going to get you better. You're going to get opportunities. But I just wanted your opinion on that because obviously a lot of the fanfare, obviously, is the two guys that came in, and in particular, Dylan Raiola, justifiably so, played well. He's played, pretty much as well as advertised. Obviously he needs to get a lot better. I mean, let's be honest, but he's definitely the real deal. Daniel Kalen as well. And then I think Heinrich Harburg is showing improvement, and that's what you want. And that's what's part of the spring is. And I think it only bodes well for the team. I mean, obviously, they weren't going against a Michigan defense or Ohio State defense, but you gotta defeat or play well against the opponents that you go against, and that's what they had the equal opportunity to do yesterday.
Special teams, though, can't let go of the special teams.
I know.
An area.
I know.
Oh my Lord.
Well, I was saving it for the last, but
okay, you can
no. Since you did, you know what? It's like one of those things. You ever had this conversation with your parents or somebody? You want the good news or the bad news, right? And when you're a kid, you always say, I want the good news first because you ain't gonna listen to the bad news. Now, as you're an adult, give me the bad news first, and then I want to end on the good news. So I think it's the special teams is conceptually they're fine. Conceptually, coverage and all that other stuff, and tidied up with fundamentals and all that stuff. Just the kicking game. I mean, obviously, when you come in as a high-profile kicker, you expect them to make it. They weren't long kicks. It wasn't an extremely windy day. And I think he's just working through some things. I think you want to have a good feeling. And now, listen, he's probably went through all spring and probably made 80, 90, mid 90% of his kicks. So, you just kind of, obviously, Pete on your leg, like Mr. Go 30 says, it's probably not the best in front of $60,000 or $60,000. Well, it's probably what you're getting paid, but 60,000 people is probably not the best, look you want from a special team standpoint. But it has to improve. It's just like the rest of the team. You got to, it's a continue along the process of getting better. Nobody should feel like, I would say, secure or fat and happy. And I'm saying fat and happy, and like, I'm not trying to, I'm not getting into the whole thing, but like, you shouldn't be sitting there resting on your laurels like I made it, right? All you did what you're supposed to do. You completed spring, and if you took the approach the right way, you improved and you showcased, throughout the whole spring, and then obviously, hopefully yesterday. Now the real work starts. Now the second part of your journey, or the really fun part, gets to start. You actually get to start to think about an opponent that actually will bite you back. Yesterday was a good. I want your opinion of this. This is what I think this spring game was good. I mean, they rested some guys. They probably know what they feel very comfortable with them. They feel comfortable that what type of workers they are. And then so you saw, a lot of young guys playing. I think the best thing about that spring game, especially defensively, especially when you had quarterbacks like you mentioned, Heinrich Harburg and Dylan Raiola and Daniel Kalen, just for a little bit, really got going. You really got to see how the young guys reacted in an uncontrolled environment. And to me, and I want your opinion, an uncontrolled environment is, yes, it was pretty much a scrimmage yesterday, but they couldn't actively coach them. They couldn't give you a pre-snap tip. They couldn't say, hey, Harrison, it's 3rd and 12. You're on the boundary. We can't be late, out of in our back pedal, getting in our back pedal, because you might have to read 2-to-1 read or whatever with it. Now you're out there in front of 60,000 people. They're screaming, they're cheering. You got music playing. It's more or less like kind of a dress up rehearsal for a game. You got to see how some guys react. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was cool. And on Fitness Facts, they even mentioned it. Matt Rule on the commentary for about like half an hour there. So you definitely weren't getting those tips there. And it was good to see him, like, what are you going to do and operate in chaos? And Kalen, wasn't his best showing, but what I liked about him, like, despite not having the best game, he was still making the right reads. The throws were off. Yeah. I mean, a few of the throws were off, but like what you were saying is, like, he wasn't losing confidence, slowing down on how he was still making the right reads. He's just got to keep working on the release and getting that thrower. And he's just a little long on quite a few of those, but I like the confidence. Like, the guys still kept throwing, despite if there was a bad play mixed in there. Yeah. I wasn't seeing a dip in confidence. Where that confidence was noticeable.
One drop or one bad pass, it was gone. I mean, and look, as great as Dylan looked, or people were excited about it. The tip pass, I would probably say, that you can't have that high of a pass across the middle. Now, I will tell you, look, you got to catch that. And unfortunately, for Demetrius Barrel, he got hurt a little bit after. He needs to catch that. But sometimes if you want to get better, every throw, even if it's a completion, or if the easy assessment is, I'm throwing a ball to you, Harrison, it's a little bit too high in your catch radius. The easy thing is say, okay, Harrison's fault. Well, it's my job, if I'm not under duress, to deliver the mail to you to where you can catch it and be an athlete and all that. So there is no the blame goes everywhere, right? And so and there's an old saying, all interceptions, and sometimes all like sacks, all they're not all equal. They're not equal. And here's an example, right? So say me and Harrison are battling for a either linebacker. Okay, we'll just do linebacker just because we just saw quarterback. Right. You can't really convince people now, but to say we're back, say and we're coming down and we're just thinking about like stats, and people just get so fall in love with stats, right? Here's an easy thing to think. Okay, say I'm in there and I'm playing at the beginning of the game against Ohio State, and before say we get a hold of the game, and I in the game would say 6 tackles, right? Maybe a half a tackle for loss or something like that, right? And then you come in maybe in the same game, but then you finish out the game and you end up with like 13. Well, the easy thing is, well, Harrison, there's no offense, but you're better, right? Well, starting and coming in as a backup is differently, right? It's different. Playing at the beginning of the game when it's on the line is different. It could be as simple as this, that if you want to look at quarterback play. So say that I have a real efficient game, right? And say like the coverage just dictates that I'm just gut punching you. I'm 8 yards here, 4 yards here. I got to throw a couple away because I'm under duress, and maybe I'm playing with a little bit different offensive line, and you're in there and you throw a 5-yard hitch. The old Jay Foreman turf monster gets somebody, you know what I mean? And then the receiver turns around and hits it up for 80 yards. You walk away with 150 yards passing, and I walk away with 110. But you get what I'm saying?
Well, that was last year. Jeff Sims was 9 for 13. Well, it was a small sample size, but it was good yards behind it, catch after the run, no interceptions. Right. I think a touchdown as well.
Sure. And so you can get like smoke screen, as I like to say, by that. Now, and that's why the coaches do a good job of really going in there and grading a tape. And even if you have a big stat day, you need to actually grade those harder. I learned that the hard. Well, first of all, with McBride, I learned it with Reggie Herring, and this is a story I'll tell, and then we'll get into some of the things I liked and some things that we already missed the bad stuff because we already talked about the special teams. No, actually, I'm gonna tell this story. We'll go back because we need it. The coverage. First of all, if you're a returner, I don't care if you think he's on the same team or not. I don't know how you would think a pipsqueak punter or kicker is on your team. You got hawked down. Okay, we're gonna table that for a second. Here's what I learned about standards, and this is in the pros, right? And this is a coach that's really invested in you, and I think these coaches invested in their players. I remember we played New England the year that they beat Carolina in the Super Bowl down in Houston, and our offense couldn't walk. We couldn't even get out on our way. They essentially lost the game for us, but our defense played well. Turned Brady over a few times, sacked him. On ESPN, they highlighted myself and Jamie Sharper. I think I had 26 tackles and he had 24, or vice versa. I mean, it was probably one of the best games I've ever played individually and collectively as an inside linebacker unit. And you go in and we only really gave up one touchdown or two, and then one was just because they turned it over under 3. And I'm expecting, talking to my coach Reggie Herring, who I love to death, and you're thinking, okay, it's going to be a quick film session. He gave us the business. Listen, Harrison, your stance is crappy. Your footwork, you're slow out of your stance. What are you reading? Your play entry. He got mad at me at a play that I thought it was one of my best plays of the year. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, obviously we were on the stream. I could tell you exactly what I was thinking. So I'm dropping, so what we did was we flipped the coverage and I had to drop, right? And so they ran a screen back to the cover 2 side. Well, when we had a negative split by cover 2 or a wider split, we would either go man or we'd play in and out coverage. Well, we went man, they ran the dude off. Well, now here comes 2 linemen and Kevin Falk. 2 linemen and no help because Jamie Sharper is running the middle, deep middle. And you know what I'm thinking? Oh, you know what? I got to do, because the worst thing you could do is just run up there and get swallowed, right? Because then that's what they want. So, it's coming in slow motion. It's probably not even a half a second. I'm like, oh, I got to do something, right? So I came up and I faked like I was going to take on a lineman and kind of retreated. and then kind of dove in and tackled him for like an 8-yard, 8-yard gain. I mean, I was like, I saved a touchdown. When I tell you he gave me the business for 5 minutes, it was 5 minutes. And you know what he was mad at? Because I should have split the lineman. Now, I split him eventually, but I'm thinking, well, if I give up the soft corner, Kevin Falk's like 4'4".
Yeah.
There's nothing there. But that's the standard that you have to have. So that's what Dylan Raiola, and they have to grade these things extremely hard. Why? It brings you back to reality, right? And that's good. That's a good leeway. You know what the harsh reality is? Listen, Barney, I like you because you know what, he's been having a great spring. Everybody talks about Jalen Lloyd. You've seen the improvement in him, and Barney's probably next. And the knowns are Banks and Nair that came over, right? Those two young guys have really lit it up. Listen, homeboy, if you're going to be a returner at Nebraska, okay, and you bust out like that, and you don't cock your head back, and you let that kicker kick you or hawk you down, I don't want to hear nothing what you're going to do about in Colorado. But you know what, though, Harrison? If that was the worst of it all, we'd be happy. It's just funny. I'm telling you, I would be giving him the business for all the way up until.
It was pretty funny live when it happened in person.
I was like, dang, the kicker was running.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
give him some credit. He had some wheels on him. He wasn't giving up on the play.
Yeah. Give it credit to him. I would say, it's hard in the spring game because you got to give special teams credit because they've done a really good job of emphasizing blocking. We've been so mad of remember we had it where we had, what was the guy that was with Frost, number 89? He would just go in and fair catch. It'd be 50 yards and he would fair catch it. So we weren't when we weren't returning kicks sometimes. Remember, we were fair catching kicks sometimes.
Well, even last year we were still having problems with that inside the 10 fair catching.
Right. But the kickoff return game, right, where you want to kind of get those hidden yards, is we should be excited that you have multiple returners back there, right, that can hit the creases. But then on the other side, okay, well, you're not covered well. You can't have it both ways in a scrimmage. You get what I'm saying? So I think I'll give the special teams a pass there. I just think the emphasis on the kicking game, and I'm fully confident that the kicker will get it going. Because he's got a tremendous amount of talent, and really, to be honest with you, people don't understand that everybody looks at Adam Vinatieri as the ultimate pressure kicker. Obviously won the Super Bowl, the first one for the Patriots in their run. Made multiple Super Bowls when they needed against the Colts in the playoffs. You want to know a secret about him? When my first 3 years in Buffalo, we always, and this is honest to God truth, he would miss pressure kicks. We went up to the Foxborough and won, and I didn't even have to watch. I was like, oh, this dude's going to miss it. Right? Now, if Bill Belichick didn't have confidence in him or didn't put pressure on him to get better, you don't have one of the best kickers in the NFL history. And not comparing our kickers to him,
right?
But that's the part of coaching. If you believe in him, you got to give him that confidence in what he's doing. So that's the bad news. The good news is, Harrison, and we got about 4 minutes before we take a quick break, and then we'll dive into the offense, defense, and some of the players I think I was impressed with.
Yep, and we got some from the starter Heyman text we dive into as well. 402-464-5685. We got Jay Foreman talking the spring game discussion here.
Yeah. I think one of the best things that you could say is they look like a better looking football team.
Yeah.
They don't have the old man bellies anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, there was times I was looking at it, I was like, man, I'm in a better shape than some of you guys. So I think number one, I think they've had a good offseason or a good winter conditioning in spring ball. But another thing is I think that they've attacked this into the point to where they understand the importance of, Matt Rule loves recovery, how important that is. He holds them accountable. They're eating right. And that's how you're able to see a better performance out there.
Yeah, well, there's no reason we shouldn't come out there looking like one of the most in shape, strong teams. I mean, we keep talking about the facilities. We're going to put that much money into them. We better be using them. Well, you better be coming out elite athletes because it's all there for you. And if you're not using it.
Yeah, Harrison, here's the thing, man. That's true. But you get out of it what you put into it.
Exactly.
And so that's an individual choice. Is that what you think?
Yeah, like I'm saying, like it's all there in front of you. So if you're not hitting that field, obviously there's things that can happen, injuries, and I get that, but even the rehab's out there for you. But it's all there for you to be an elite athlete. There's money in it. Right. It's hard to argue. There's places out there that got it even better than what we have.
Nobody does. And you have the support, and you have a coach that's willing to expand that support if it's for the betterment of his players and team. And you have the financial support and all that stuff behind it. So I think it's just that jumped out to me. They look faster, they look quicker. Now they just got to get better. But what people don't understand is you can't get better at something until you can work that technique, that rep, that footwork, that even mentally longer, harder, and stronger than you have before. If you think that you're just going to get like bigger arms and then you're just going to do the same work, it's not. You're going to get the same results, except for you're just going to look better aesthetically doing it. You're going to, you grease your arms up, and then everybody can get on Twitter. It's like,
do more likes on your IG.
Yeah,
Twitter.
Yeah. You can flex a little bit and change the font and stuff like that. Make you look like RoboCop or something like that. So I think that's important. I think the organization jump from last year to this year looked like a more tidied up, clean operation. That's important. Or that was apparent. I think the physicality there from the younger guys, willingness to hit. I'm gonna tell you this. One unit that impressed me, especially when they were running some of those bubble screens and flat routes by the tight end, was the wide receiver group. They had young guys out there like Keelan Smith, stalk blocking and blocking. So that lets you know that they can get physical when they want to. And this is the last point I'm gonna leave right here before we come back after this short break. Is everybody talks about physicality, right? And it's always say there's catchphrases and stuff, right? A few years ago, guys get drafted. They say it's a surreal moment. People on Google and don't know what that means. And they say, the ones, I'm a dog, right? And then I'm grinding, right? I'm grinding. Then it's getting it out of the mud, right? Then it's physicality. Well, I think there's two ways you can become physical. Obviously, you get some guys and they have the mindset and they practice like it, and it's just who you are, right? And so you could wear pads 100 days or not. They just physical. They walk around physical. They just do everything physical, and you can develop that, right? But then another way you can be physical is to make sure that you're physical out on the edges. And that doesn't mean that you're like trying to trick people or anything like that. You can be physical and train physical out on the edges until your inside becomes as physical as you need it. And then when you do that, you can pick and choose when you're being physical. You get what I'm saying? So if you put bigger bodies on smaller bodies out on the edges, then you expect your skill guys to be excellent, run after the catch, and hit the seams. That's what I saw from the stock blocker from the receiver group, which I was impressed with, because you're getting young guys that are used to getting, 60, 70 balls in high school, knowing that you don't block, you ain't getting the rock. And so I like that. I like that mentality. We got a question here from the starter Heyman text line from an unknown caller, 920 area code 1031. He says, who's Jay starting on offense minus the QB? What 5 do you play if you only could play 5? That must be in the offensive line.
Yeah, I think an offensive line, or just 5 guys in general that you think got to be out there.
It's probably the 5 offensive linemen. Unknown texter, I hope you're listening. You can clarify that. We're going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, I will answer that to the best of my ability. So I'm going to do a little bit of telepathy and guesstimation what he was asking. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, Advanced Medical Imaging. Quick break. We'll be right back.
This is Lancaster County Attorney Pat Condon reminding you to vote for my friend and colleague, Carolyn Bozin. Carolyn Bozin is a strong voice for Lincoln, who we need representing us in the legislature. Carolyn Bozin voted for historic funding for education to support our schools and for the largest property tax relief package in Nebraska history. Carolyn Bozin is the voice we need representing us in the legislature. This is Lancaster County Attorney Pat Condon. Join me in supporting Carolyn Bozin for legislature on May 14th.
Paid for by Bozin for legislature.
There's more time to save big at Bonzal Pool and Spa with their extended Double the Savings sales event. Now through April 30th, buyers can take advantage of up to $1,500 in savings when they purchase a new hot spring spa. Visit the Bonzal Pool and Spa showroom at 33rd and Pioneers, or visit their website at www.bonzalpool.com to learn more about this hot sale. Act now, because this offer ends April 30th. Bonzal Pool and Spa, every day made better.
I was born and raised in Lancaster County, learning the value of hard work and grit at a young age. I built my own company, creating jobs right here in our community. I know that families and businesses in our community need lower taxes, lower cost of healthcare, and a great education. That's why, as your senator, I helped pass the largest tax cut and made the most significant investment in education in Nebraska history and worked to reduce the cost of healthcare. I'm Senator Bo Ballard, and I humbly ask for your vote on May 14th. Paid for by Ballard for Nebraska.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through April 30th is buy one, get one free on New York strips, limit 4 per visit. Also 15% off koozie chips and nuts. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Power combo BOGO? Huh?
Yes, if you purchase an air conditioner, you receive a furnace completely free. At John Henry's, our professionals want to ensure you are comfortable in your home all year long, no matter what Nebraska has to throw at us. Call today to schedule your free estimate and learn more about the free furnace waiting for you. Give John Henry's a call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Buckle up and hang on. This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes and family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding
and tailgating tradition. Burnouts, beer, and barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time, and you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 4th and 5th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
When you're in New York, Nick, in New York, I mean, you're talking about, you see mafioso types. You go into a restaurant and you would literally eat, hey, come over here. You know, they I don't know how to say it. I don't got the accent, but they would say, come, Strick, come here, come over. Have a drink on me. And what are you going to do? Say no?
You not say
you
no
don't
to that?
say no to the drink. You don't say no.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The Electrical Workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Ever stare at the Hog Wild menu and feel like you just can't make up your mind because it all looks so good? Well, when I want a little bit of everything, I get a little bit of everything on Hog Wild's Smokestack Sandwich. On a butter-toasted bun, we pile on our hickory smoked beef brisket and juicy hot links. The hard part is choosing between fresh curly fries, classic baked beans, or coleslaw on the side. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. All your imaging needs, they do an excellent job, great customer service, and come up with a great game plan for you. We're having our spring game review. obviously it was the premiere of the new look quarterback room. So we're going to dive into that. Obviously Dylan Raiola came in with a lot of fanfare. Daniel Kaelin was a Elite 11 and wasn't the number 11 ranked player after that. So he was a high 4-star recruit. He was a Missouri commit. Things changed and he came back to Nebraska, which I think was a great get by the staff because they've done a good job of keeping some sort of lines of communication open, right? And so that was a really good job by them. And then obviously you had the holdover of Heinrich Harburg, with Purdy leaving and Jeff Sims going into the portal. There was an opening there for not one 2024, but two. And you heard all through spring camp and obviously probably prior to spring camp that the two new guys have a command of how to play the quarterback position. And you wonder, how does that happen and why haven't we had it before? Well, the recruiting philosophy on the quarterback position was a lot different than what this staff is doing. You got to think, whether it's Cole Payton, Zane Flores, even all the way back to Easton Stick, who's still in the NFL, Nebraska's kind of not really been warm and fuzzy to Nebraska quarterbacks. And the previous staff, won't say any names, the quarterback coach offered Daniel Kaelin. The head coach was mad. I just dying myself up.
Okay. You tried.
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, this is where we're at. I think the quarterback room, I think if we had this I can only go off of this, right? So I'm guesstimating.
Yeah.
But I just think the ability to play pitch and catch has improved drastically. Just the ability to throw the football has improved drastically, to know where to place the football and when to throw the football, the timing, which has allowed them to maybe make some more higher difficulty throws. And in particular, Dylan Raiola fitting in balls that, a lot of guys aren't equipped to do right now as an 18-year-old kid that probably should be just, going to prom or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How much is that Glenn Thomas, you think, too? Having a QB coach.
I was just about to get into it. I think, and also when you think we have three new quarterbacks, you got two rookies, and then you got a new version or a newer version or an improved version of Heinrich Harburg. And you saw it yesterday. And he was great when he said, "Hey, look, I got a lot of stuff to work on. I know exactly what I do wrong, but the biggest thing I got to do it in the game." And he did it yesterday. It's a great option to have, and it keeps the competition going. This is a dead heat, to who's going to end up being the starting quarterback against UTEP on August 31st. Obviously, I think Dylan Raiola probably has a leg up right now. I'm not a coach. That's just my opinion. But I don't think I think it's still in competition mode. This is where you really separate yourself or gain in the competition. You know what I'm saying, Harrison? In the sense of, yeah, you might be you're number one right now, right? But do you continue to push and improve yourself and increase that lead, or do you rest on your laurels, start reading, the internet, and then you're in a dead heat coming fall camp? Because here's the difference between spring ball and fall camp, and this is equivalent just because we just had the NFL draft, is when all these guys, the three guys I think did sign undrafted free agent deals, and I think there was a couple more, go to these mini camps. You're going to get a lot of reps. If you mess up, it's not as intense. But let me tell you something. As soon as that mini camp is over, everything is ramped up 10,000%. Matter of fact, you're not going to get as many reps because why? In the NFL, you're getting ready to play the season. In the fall camp, you might not get as many reps later as we get closer to game time because we're getting ready for UTEP. And so yesterday was just the first example of what they have, or first showing of what they have at the quarterback room. And I think it's kind of indicative of the running back room, right? I think when you look at Dante Dowdell, he was a big get coming out of the transfer portal, and versus Emmett Johnson, I think you have a player that gotten better in Emmett Johnson, Mr. Consistency, 5 yards to carry, where Dante Dowdell had the big run, but then you like his 7 yards per carries. But you like the different body types. You like a guy that's consistent. You know we're going to get. Then you got a bruiser that can run everything. And I think one thing is really good as far as the running back room going to the next position group is Dante Dowdell didn't have a lot of yards receiving, but he had 4 catches out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't look like a fluid athlete enough to catch it out of the backfield. He's obviously worked on that a lot. I like the play calling. I like the difference of the play calling. Now, granted, you can call these plays now because you're not keeping, or you're keeping score, but you're not keeping score against an opponent. But I like the play calling a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more continuity to it. I like it, and they kind of flowed together a little bit more. I think it's another year for Marcus Satterfield to know his personnel, and then have some guys in there he feels a lot more confident in to be able to pitch and catch the ball. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's just even the basic throws. Like last year, like we'd have screen passes. You weren't even sure if we could get it there on time. And it's like it was just the reality of things. And I'm not just like bagging on Heinrich Haarberg. He got thrown into a difficult position, but we just haven't had consistent quarterback play.
And where they went, I mean, and Jeff Sims, he showed flashes, but the ability to do the basics things when you get in the red zone was just apparent. Same with Chuba Purdy. No knock on them. They just didn't look good, and we saw it all spring. And so that's where the improvement is. Now, if you can run the ball better, the play calling is going to be a lot easier.
It's going to fix that red zone.
It's going to fix the red zone. It's going to fix the ability to be more explosive. And then if you can be more explosive, you'll be able to run the ball better. So it all kind of ties together. I think the offensive line looks better. I think they made some additions. We'll get into that. I'm going to answer this text here. He clarified the 5 skill players. So wide receiver, running back, tight end. Who would I start if I only could pick 5? Well, I think just off top, I'd probably Banks, Nair, wide receivers. Running back, I would put right now Emmett Johnson. He's more familiar, and he over-delivered last year, and he's been and he's been doing his thing this year. I like him. I think he's gotten better. I think he's a tough kid. He's dependable, and he's only going to get better. And they've been challenging him. And trust me, I know him personally. He hears what people are saying, and he ain't going to take a day off. So those are 3. And tight end, it's either Borkature or Fedoni. I guess I go with Fedoni. I think they're kind of 2 and 1. You know. So I like the tight end room. I like Lindenmeyer too. I think Lindenmeyer. First of all, he's wearing the best number out there. You know, him and Van Poppel. So they just on that alone, they're gonna play good. I like the flexibility that Lindenmeyer gives. And for the people listening, if you could go back and watch South Carolina's offense when Marcus Satterfield was a coordinator, and when they had the coming out party against Tennessee, they had a H-back / tight end number 44 that Marcus Satterfield brought with him from his prior job, who was a do-it-all. What he did was he allowed them to slide the pocket one way because they weren't fleet of foot offensively. He was able to set the edge and give Spencer Rattler a better passing angle, and you saw it on display on that night against Tennessee on ESPN. And what he also was able to do, the short area pass game, sure-handed, better athlete than he looks, physical as a moving tight end. Lindenmeyer fits that. Look, he was a freshman out there playing, and got better. After the Colorado game, I think once they start getting that tight end motion down. So I like the tight end room. Those will be my 5. I think they're all kind of encompassing in one. Ted is texting in here. He says, here what he says, that he says having the ability as a program to lose a quarterback to injury and not having a dramatic fall off is a huge for this program. We haven't had that in years, and that's probably what they're trying to build on. Part of that though, Harrison, is how Matt Rule and staff practices. What really remember when Taylor would get hurt, Taylor Martinez would get hurt, and then it looked like the next dude had never played quarterback in like 10 years.
Yeah, was that Fike behind him? Riker Fike?
Yeah. Right? But it looked like like they didn't, but then it looked like they didn't even know how to call plays for him, or like call plays while he was in the game. And then it made him look probably worse than he was. Well, that's changed because Matt Rule has the structure of different stations, equal like reps, so they're all developing. That means everybody's learning how to play with them. So I think that's remedied, right? And part of developing players is here's what it's like. They would spend all off season getting bigger, faster, and stronger, go through spring ball, go through summer training, and then get the fall and be kicking it. If you don't do anything for 2 months, especially play football, and then you get thrown in there and you're not getting enough practice reps, even if you're not going down and practicing on the practice squad, if you're a number 2 or 3 quarterback, you can't expect to go play in front of 90,000 people, let alone against Ohio State, Michigan, and all that. You're just asking for recipe for disaster. I think they'll do a better job of doing that. And that's why you see 3 quarterbacks actually perform well yesterday versus 1. That means you got a lot more to talk about. So Culligan Jay asked, Jay, do you think Nebraska is on their way back to getting some players drafted within the NFL draft? I think so. I think they look like a bigger team. I think the young guys that came in and they've started like whether it's Cam Linhart, Prince Well, Van Poppel, the numerous receivers, the guys that they got out of the transfer portal, more draftable looking guys. Whether it's a couple offensive linemen that they bring in, they look like more NFL players. Defensive backs, you got guys. I know Isaac Gifford is getting a lot of love right now, but I think Tommy Hill has a good height, weight, size, speed ratio.
Javen Wright in the future. Who knows what he's going to look like?
Right. These guys, they look
NFL
like
size already.
Right. So now they just got to play.
Yep.
Where you could compare it to maybe like Luke Reimer, they say, oh, he's a little bit shorter, injury history, shorter arms, where all those things are remedied by the type of athletes. And it's funny that Culligan Jay said this. I saved this picture here, that I got off the old X or internet.
And we could have had some guys drafted this year too, but someone decided to come back.
Right.
So that's part of it.
Part of it too. And some guys I think probably should have stayed. I think Omar Brown, I would like to see him stay.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State, Colorado, Baylor, Nebraska, Northwestern, ASU, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt, and Indiana, the only Power 5 schools not having have anybody drafted this year.
Yep. We had some free agent signings.
Free agent signings. And sometimes that's all. You could have guys drafted, but then, like Jeremiah Searles didn't get drafted, and he played 5 or 6 years in the league. Yeah, some guys get drafted high and can't play dead. Now you want more pro-ready guys or guys that want to be pro. And like I said, it's twofold. You can have guys that fit the script that want to be pros, but do they want to? That's only answered by them. And it's not by what they say, it's by what they do. And that's where our problem's been. We've had guys in the prior that looked the part, that just were okay with just being okay. So once that standard changes internally, you'll see we'll get right back to 4, 5, 6 guys, whatever we're used to having. But I also think the development is part of it too. You can't get better at football by not footballing. You can't. You're not gonna the days of a guy not playing and then all of a sudden he's lighting up the league. That ain't happening. You got to play. You got to practice it.
Especially today, it's so competitive.
Right. And you got to deal with friction. You got to get hit. You actually got to fail, right? I mean, they talked about Bo Nix and one of the appealing things, he dealt with adversity. He was horrible, not horrible. He didn't meet expectations at Auburn, or else he wouldn't have been in the portal. He went up there and exceeded expectations, number 12 pick. It's not that easy. And so I think we'll get back there, but they got to put the work in, and then they got to play better. I will tell you this, Culligan Jay, the better you play as a team, the more guys will get drafted. You can't tell me that there's 20 better safeties than Omar Brown. You can't. I've seen him play. I know what he's built up. I know what he's made of. I know how much he loves football. I can guarantee you if we would have had a better run, not only last year, but before, right? Then he's getting the benefit of the doubt. You want to know how? Here's a great comparison before we go to break. The 2 LSU receivers, yes, they are first-round picks. If you don't think they are benefiting off of Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, then you got your head in the sand. And I can sell you an empty glass, and tell you it's the water of life. It's not. That's true. It's true. That's 100% true. It's not saying that they aren't first-round picks, but they got picked higher based on that and them winning, right? And that's the way. That's just. I mean, just think the NFL right now. Ever since COVID, and I'll say this before we get to break. Ever since COVID, they didn't have as many guys at the combine, right? So they shrunk it down. So what does that mean? Not as many undrafted free agents are invited to camp, right? So that means then the draft is shrunk down, even though it's the same number of picks. They aren't flying everywhere to go check out a guy or even here. If you're there, they have their efficiency rating on draft percentage has to go up. So what's the easy thing to do? Let me go get some guys that are winners. I think Michigan had 18 guys invited to the combine and 13 or 14 got drafted, right? Michigan's the defending national champion. Now, granted, those guys are all really good enough, and I'm sure the other 4 get picked up. But that's what it comes down to. The better if you invest in I will come later. That means we were better. I benefited from it. I got drafted. So inside the huddle, Jay Foreman, Advanced Medical Imaging 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We're going to take a quick break, quick segment to put a bow on this quick hour, man. It's, I'll give some more overall thoughts on a couple of surprise players, and we'll send you off to 12 o'clock hour. Inside the huddle, we'll be right back.
What do you think of when you hear the chocolate season? Artisan chocolates? Of course. They have the best chocolates this side of the Atlantic. Friendly neighborhood coffee shop? Yup, they're that too. A nationally recognized top-tier brunch spot. Waffle weekends, baby. And the place to grab a gift for literally any occasion? Everybody loves chocolate. See for yourself at the Chocolate Season, 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead online at thechocolateseason.com.
Spring is here, and it's time to wake up Judson. Judson Irrigation is eager and ready to get your sprinkler system up and running for the season. Judson's technicians will check for winter damage, adjust your sprinkler heads, and show you how to set your controller for effective sprinkling coverage. The Judson Irrigation team is here for you. Stay safe.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197. Tanner's Bar and Grill is the perfect place to watch your favorite MLB teams this spring and summer, as well as Nebraska baseball. Enjoy Tanner's delicious hamburgers, chicken lips, and daily specials, and wash it down with one of their tons of options of beers. You'll never have an issue finding the game, as there are TVs everywhere throughout the space. So get in early and grab your spot and settle in for an afternoon or evening of baseball at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Hi, this is State Senator Carolyn Bozin. As a state senator, wife, and mom, I believe Lincoln is a great place to work and raise a family. My husband Reggie and I are local family business owners and actively involved in our community. Last year, I voted for the largest property tax relief package in Nebraska history. Property tax relief is important to every family, and I will continue to deliver more property tax relief to working families. This is Carolyn Bozin, and I am asking for your vote on May 14th. Paid for by Bozin for Legislature.
There's more time to save big at Bonsall Pool & Spa with their extended Double the Savings sales event. Now through April 30th, buyers can take advantage of up to $1,500 in savings when they purchase a new hot spring spa. Visit the Bonsall Pool & Spa showroom at 33rd and Pioneers or visit their website at www.bonsallpool.com to learn more about this hot sale. Act now because this offer ends April 30th. Bonsall Pool & Spa, every day made better. Soulful Casino in Havelock is a family-owned business, providing incredible food and service that'll have you craving more with every bite. Soulful Casino offers everything from pulled pork to fried chicken, catfish, ribs, and even quesadillas. You want sides? They've got them. From fries, green beans and baked beans, to collard greens, potato salad, and sweet dill corn. Stop by for lunch as they have specials Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. That's Soulful Casino, located in Havelock, where every bite you take fills the soul.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? We're back. Spring game review. Jay Foreman inside the huddle. Just over basic. I think it's look at going into the offseason. The defense has got to lead the way. Offense is going to be better. Assuming it's just going to take some time. More continuity on defense, but they got more weapons on offense. So they get to pointing in the right direction, and everything's in the up and up. And Coach Rule and staff have done a good job. But I want to highlight a couple players. And it's a guy that when he was recruited, offensively, he was a man without a position, but he was a great athlete. I wasn't going to be surprised if they were going to kind of convert him to like a will linebacker just because of his size, but he was kind of a hybrid. And he came in, I think, as a receiver, kind of was tight end, kind of do it all, play a little fullback, is Janarian Bonner. And yes, he had a great day yesterday, 4 catches, 58 yards. The knowns are Jalen Lloyd. That's the easy thing to do. And I was going back between Bonner and Borkacher. You can say both of them. Both of them have exceeded expectations. Both of them have carved their own path with this team, but both of them can be effective assets. I mean, if you go back to just the first game of the year, Jeff Sims has hit Borkacher when he's wide open, like literally from me to you. We having a whole different conversation right now about what happened last year and where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
We win that game.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's a big target as far as Borkacher can move. I think Bonner I like is because he can be a matchup problem. And I'm talking from a defensive standpoint. He's too big for, say, a slot corner, right? So it'd be like Malcolm Hartzog. He's bigger, right? You can kind of body him. He can block enough as far as getting out on the edge. If you want to look at maybe San Francisco with Jusek, right? You can kind of run some fake play action, ghost cut the defensive end, get to the flat, yards after catch you saw yesterday. You can line him up in the slot as a receiver. You can line him up on the backside, probably as an inline blocker. You can do different things with him. So I think he needs to be highlighted, and hopefully he continues to improve. And again, I'm picking out somebody that's not the knowns, right? And then on the defense side, I'm gonna give a guy that kind of started out slow. I guess whether you want to say Shavers, passed him up or whatever, but I'm gonna talk about Stephon Thompson. Look, he started at Syracuse. Been hurt, but he'd been in the Tony White system. Matt Rule called him to the carpet, said, look, dude, you got to be in better shape. I think he's in better shape. He showed up yesterday. Mm-hmm. He's improved. Now he's got to improve his body, right, to get back into this competition. He's in the competition, but what I mean, be at the not in the on the list, be at the top of the list. But he took, in my opinion, he took a step in the right direction, because I think for this defense to be what everybody wants it to be, he has to have a great, starting Monday fall camp, right? And that's my opinion. I was going to say Judy as well, but I think really for him, second level is Red Alert that needs the guys to step up. Bullock, Javen Wright, Shavers, him. Then you're kind of getting some depth there, along with to alleviate the inexperience of the playmaking and the continuity there. If they can get him to. If you can get a guy that you get out of transfer portal to play well, you're doing some good stuff. So development is key. Now, that is a relationship that needs to be cultivated, right? Just really like the relationship we have with everybody out there. Appreciate you guys' support. Is growing. Got a big announcement next week that we got something addition going on. Plus, I want to thank Advanced Medical Imaging for their relationship, and it's a good partnership. So it's not just a relationship. Want to take the texters as well. But we're going to turn it over at 12 o'clock. This is Jay Foreman Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We'll holler at you next week.